decade. We are a design agency from The Hague in the Netherlands, and we developed where's the clicker here? We developed a system of disaster pictograms that can be used before and during and after a disaster. I have to talk a bit quick because normally it takes an hour, so I will do my best. If you go on the internet and if you look for disaster pictograms or disaster signs or warning signs, you have an enormous variety of pictograms and signs that warn you, but it's not a system at its own. They are all different systems actually. And what we try to do is make a system like traffic signs that can be globally used and understood by everybody. It's called the International System of Disaster Pictograms. And a few years ago we started with it, with the version 1.0, and there was an exhibition about it in the Netherlands, and it looked a bit like this. And then we made a web survey that people all over the world could test these pictograms and look. They could see if they could see what it was. We did this together with the Royal Tropical Institute in Holland, and the outcome was surprising sometimes. Actually, this is a man walking through water, but people thought it was a man with a snake. So we changed it in the new version. And this was a woman, and she was bad because she was in prison. That's what they thought. And we made this for it. Okay, for that we made a second version, with all the outcome, and we shaped it a bit. And there was another exhibition where we had the chance to show it. It was a bigger one. I go through this a bit fast because of the time. Okay, well, it's a system, and what we did is we tried to reuse the knowledge that's already there about warning people. So we took the colors from the American National Standard Institute. They already give this information to the color, and we added white to it for medical care. And all those information streams, I don't know how you call it, had their own logo, because then if you want to give information to people that are in emergency, you can already see on the symbol and on the color which kind of information it is. So if it's for you or not, you don't have to look at the pictogram first to understand and say, no, this is not a good one, I want to go there. And then for every category we made some pictograms. This is safety, of course, and you can see, because it's green, and on the left top corner there's the safety symbol we made, and then there is the message. And it's in two languages, it's in English and then in the local language. And also for information, warning, prohibited, and medical care. Here, this is what we developed so far. We had about, I think, 80 pictograms. Information, there's a lot. This is warning, and here you see in the warning system, you see one, here's this pointer, there's one exception in this whole series. That is one from landmines, because landmines already has its own pictogram. That, I don't know, a long time ago somebody thought it must be a red triangle, so that's it now, and everybody who lives near landmines or a place where landmines are recognizes that symbol. So that's why we made the exception. Here's the usage of this pictogram now. So we developed this one. And the same thing is actually with a tsunami. This is the symbol for a tsunami. This is worldwide. Somebody made it and everybody adopted it and use it. So we made this one. But I think it's not a good idea for every disaster make an own pictogram. You can better make a whole series and use it, and everybody will recognize it, and that will give the information, you can take the information faster. Then we thought about the children. What do you do with children? How do they observe things? And then we thought, if we could make a language that would be easily understood for children, then grown-ups will also understand it. So you see that all the shapes are very, I would say child-friendly, not the message but the shapes. And what we did is try to not invent the wheel again, like reuse what's already there. If you go for a telephone pictogram on Google and you have 100 pictograms, 99 will be like this old-fashioned phone. And I asked my son, who is 4 years old, who never seen a phone like that, he recognized it as a phone. So we reuse that. We don't think that you should make your own symbol of a phone if it's already there. And that's the same with food. It's like, it's or a knife and a fork, or it's hamburgers and Coca-Cola. And I think hamburgers and Coca-Cola is a bit too far. So we reused this one. Then you also have to see a pictogram in its context, I think. I mean, if you see a sign like this, it can be confusing, like, what does it mean? But if you see it standing next to this water, then you will know that there is a path you can walk without going too deep. The same is with this one. It's like if you go to an airport where there's a SARS thing going on, you will understand that this is a checkpost to get your temperature. Then the font is also reused. It's a font that is used by the Dutch traffic signs, and that is tested and tested over and over again, and it is quite good readable from a distance, so we use that one. We made it an open system, so we can add more pictograms later in an easy to use grid, very clear. And the same with an arrow with it, that you can use with all the pictograms to give the directions. How many minutes do I have? Does it go a bit faster? Or enough? Then we made a system for signs to use. You can hang it on a cable, you can stick it on a pole, you can with nails you can nail it on the wall, or you can sticker it. And if one of these things will not work, or not all, then you're in an open field and you can lay it on the ground, I think. Here's the system, you can see it hanging on the cable. Then, sorry, we made also a set of pre-warning systems, like you can use before a disaster will happen. You cannot always use that because you don't always see a disaster coming, but sometimes you see. And we also made a sound logo with it, which I don't have it here unfortunately, I cannot show you. But there are 3 states, and there's one state, like if one of the 3 states will, how do you say it? Will stop, then you can use the last one to say it's all safe, you don't have to prepare anymore. Then the usage, you can see we categorize disasters in 5 different categories. I think we complete all the disasters in 5 categories. I think officially there are 18 categories, but we use 5 because you can put every disaster in one of these 5 categories. That is natural disaster, epidemic, human failure, armed conflict and terrorism. And you can see that the use of these pictograms are very different with each category. For natural disasters, sometimes you see it coming and you can evacuate people. But if for instance, there is a SARS epidemic somewhere, epidemic is it? Then you will not evacuate people because you will isolate the problem, I think. And the same is with an armed conflict. You see it coming, but a terrorist attack, you don't see it coming. And then you can see the usage of the pictograms. The first pictogram almost always used is a safe place. If you are in danger, you want to go to safety and you look for this pictogram and information. That's also one of the most important pictograms. And then it will go on, like register in a refugee camp and blah blah blah. Then there was surprisingly a lot of attention from the press. There were a lot of articles in the Frankfurter Allgemeine. There was a full-page article about it. And we are still developing it today. We did, in the Netherlands with the Dutch Fire Department, we did an evacuation of a campsite in Holland. and they used the pictograms to test it a bit, which was quite a success. And what we are developing today, this is still under construction. We are trying to make a sort of container that you can airdrop it, it will float, you can roll it, and then all the stuff you need to use these pictograms in a disaster area are in it. And we are busy or trying to develop a system that if somebody will use this sign of pictogram and put it on the wall somewhere, for instance here in a mobile hospital, then there is this little QR code on it, and he will scan it with his phone, it's like an Iridium phone, and send it to the satellite, who will put it on Google Maps immediately. And then if you have a smartphone and the system is still working in the area, you can easily see where to go for the hospital or information or food or whatever. That was quick, normally it takes an hour. This was my presentation, and actually today we are looking for organizations who will help us develop this further, because we are graphic designers and not disaster specialists, and all the pictograms you saw were pictograms that we thought are very handy using in a disaster, but probably there are much better ones. Thank you.